he's got to do with it. So let's give a round of applause to Lauri!
Hello everyone. My name is Lauri Sokk and I'm the head of Smart City Tartu, and I'm really glad to be here on the stage because exactly as 3 years ago I was really associated with the whole festival, and I was leading the festival, and this is the first year I kind of can enjoy it. So, but today we talk about Smart City, and I'm going to give you a brief understanding what we in Tartu think of Smart City. So if you start thinking about Smart City, the word pair Smart City, then you can understand actually that Smart City means different kind of things for different kind of people. And for some people, Smart City means really futuristic things, like building these unreachable futuristic cities that don't exist right now. But for them, Smart City means something like this. And then there are some people who think of Smart City as a present. So whatever you do in the city right now, they think of this situation right now as a smart city. So if you ask them, are you living in a smart city? Then they probably say, yes, we're living in a smart city. We can use our mobile ID, or, I don't know, park a car with the mobile, stuff like that. And then there are some people who actually think of smart city as something else. They think of smart city as a peaceful environment where they can actually grow their children, enjoy the atmosphere, stuff like that. And for them, smart city is never connected with technology whatsoever. So, in my opinion, and as much as I've understood the whole area, then there's no mutual understanding what is a smart city. And people, as much as there are people in the world, as much as there are organizations in the world, people actually have different understandings of smart city. So I would like to see that person who says the exact right definition about smart city. So don't worry if you understand smart city differently, that's totally fine. Usually cities drive into two separate piles. There are a lot of cities who focus their smart city initiatives towards technology, and everything they do in the cities, I would say kindly, like always associated doing a lot of innovative stuff with technology. And then there are some cities in the world who think of city or smart city as something different, as a people-oriented city. So if we talk about Tartu, then Tartu definitely goes into this pile, because Tartu has always been doing the citizen-oriented things. So being a small city, second largest city in Estonia, basically a village to the rest of the world, we tend to do a lot of things, not so much tech-oriented, but more people-oriented. So in our opinion, and in my opinion, technology is just a tool. It's a tool that you use to reach your goals. And it's not the holy grail of smart cities. So I think it's a wrong conception when you start driving towards smart city and start using technology to achieve those things. There's a really nice saying from Albert Einstein, famous German scientist, that he said that if you have 1 hour and you have a problem, then you should spend 55 minutes understanding the problem and only 5 minutes finding solution for the problem. And same goes to a lot of smart city topics as well. Do we actually need those mobile sensors or parking sensors in the city if we don't have problems with our parking in general? A lot of those examples come over and over in our city as well, where we try to understand, do we actually have the problem? So it's the basic principle of design thinking. Focus research about your target segment, which is in smart city terms, citizen. And this is a nice saying. It's like a slogan already, but Tartu has been smart city since 1632. And at that time, when the Swedish king came to Tartu and decided, hey, we should make a university here, the population of Tartu was pretty low at that time. And since then, a lot of great minds have come to the city. And I just checked the fact, roughly in the beginning of 18th century, there were only 21 people living in the city. I don't know if it's a true fact or not, but anyways, the population has grown and grown, and we kind of associated with. And there have been a lot of different projects that as I researched them and as I tried to understand how those projects were launched, a lot of those projects were focused definitely on the citizen side. So understanding the big problem, what the citizens have. And one of the first modern time examples of Smart City in Tartu was the mobile parking, where we actually understood that people have issues walking with -30 in the winter to get their parking ticket from machinery. So that's the problem. Who's the target segment? Citizens, visitors, stuff like that. And then technology is just the SMS solution. It was just a tool to do that thing. And then there's a lot of other cool stuff which is definitely focused on the people. Either it's a participative budgeting, either it's a new public transportation system where we actually took advice from the citizens who weren't anymore so satisfied with the public transportation network. We did a lot of database research and then took the plan to the citizens, asked, do you like the new plan? It's going on right now. Adding a lot of new bicycles this year, more than 750 bicycles. Go visit our Tartu Expo area, you can see those bikes there as well. This is something as well where we try to get and understand what people actually like, and people say we like to have bicycles in the city, so we can do that. Or smart city renovations from Soviet time buildings. And changing the cultural scene as well. So as you can understand from those projects, for us Smart City isn't that much about technology, building the sensors, it's more about the whole atmosphere in the city. So culture, music festivals, Startup Day Festival, this is part of Smart City. This is the new brand, by the way. We launched it today, so it's public today. And when we were doing the branding and understanding what are the values that our people like the most, we asked 3 things you would never lose from Tartu. And the 3 things were short distances, geographically, both, and mentally, in human relations as well. People like the size of Tartu. They don't want to lose it. Or it's the green living environment. People like to go out, to walk in the parks with their children, stuff like that. And diverse cultural scene. And if you ask them what are the 3 things you would change immediately in Tartu, then definitely the 3 answers are connections with the outside world. Tartu isn't yet so well connected with the outside world. We have a flight connection, but still we need a lot more connections. Increasing high-level jobs. We're producing so many talented people, but we still are not able to provide them the right jobs in this labor market. So we have to work with that as well. And the balanced city development. We just can't put the focus in the city center and forget everything else. So if you compare those 2 understandings, you can understand that they're pretty controversial in some terms. Tartu aims to become some big giant, but at the same time wants to remain the same. So it's a pretty tough job for a smart city, how you can actually succeed it. And one of the main magic dust powders for that might be the language of smartness. So smart city isn't about building and achieving something by 2030 or something. It's rather the communication way how the community members in the city government, entrepreneurs, usual citizens, visitors understand the way how this city works. So either you're a mayor of Tartu or you're just an average guy from Tartu who studies in Tartu. They both have to understand that the things that they're doing in Tartu, they have to do it for the bigger purpose. So I'm always pretty critical about the big vision strategies and stuff like that. Although sometimes you need it, but mostly you need to have certain values agreed between you and the other members. So, for my last slide, I would conclude that our idea in Smart City Tartu is that smart city isn't the big thing you have to achieve all the time, but it's rather a way of thinking. And we should spread the message across the whole city. The people who live in the city, visit the city, can get the feeling, can get the understanding what the city stands for. We're building the city for ourselves, not for some kind of big expo area. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them via email or right here, right now.
Woo! I do have a question. So you just said, that you are skeptical about visions and long-term goals, but still, in your mind, if you imagine Tartu in 10 years, how does it look like? Let's just all close our eyes, just, describe how it feels to be here. Is it already 1 million people, or what's it like?
I would definitely go in the middle segment. I think we're already here. So this is already a smart city, but in 10 years' time, my only hope for Tartu city, I don't look that the city looks different physically, but I really like that all the people understands that all the projects that we're doing in the city, either it's bike sharing, either it's renovating big buildings, they can understand why are we doing this. So I think in 10 years' time, one of my biggest goals is to get the communication, the values at the same level.
Okay, so you see yourself living in Tartu in 10 years?
Absolutely. Just 2 weeks ago, I had a presentation for students in Tallinn, and the presentation talked about how I've always tried to get away from the city, but it takes me back all the time. So I love this city. I think it's a perfect place for living.
But you've traveled a lot, okay?
Yes.
Probably. You've seen other cities. So if you can choose this city, this one city or town, maybe a village, who knows, where you could do the same that you're doing currently in Tartu. So what that place would be?
It's a really personal question.
Yeah.
My favorite city in the world is New York City, not because it's so big, but it also has the same small communities all around the city. So if you're in Brooklyn, you can understand that this is totally separate community, and if you're, in Manhattan, it's totally separate community. So I like the city a lot. I don't know if I would be like work there, because it's a pretty crazy place to run.
Okay. Well, let's give a round of applause to Lauri. Thank you so much.